Welcome guys, Brandon here from Terminated Gaming, and yeah, you might be wondering, this isn't really a game. Well, okay, so I've done 2 videos already on this, and a lot of people have done videos on this. So I've decided to make a spreadsheet of the results of me opening containers. So I went back through and all of the part of my minds, tabulated all of what I got, and this is the result I came up with, and I've decided to make it as a spreadsheet to hopefully convey the information more easily to you guys. In my video about I opened 400 containers, I didn't go through and accurately depict all the other containers. I just kind of went through the ships, and that I'm kind of proving a point that the value that I spent, I got back. So that was kind of the point of that video. So this one is to point out how rigged the system is. I know what you guys are saying. Oh, we already know it's rigged. But statistically, why is it rigged? So I'm going to go over and say the first thing is the people that have figured out the shortlist for these items. So the containers I'm talking about are always going to be the mega containers, the top tier containers, the most expensive containers, because they statistically, from Wargaming's saying that you're more likely to get a ship out of them. So from the Wargaming forums, the shortlist for the Santa Mega containers were the following ships: Duca de Atost, Duca de Atost, Udachi, Vanguard, and Orkanov, which is a tier. The first one was like a tier 6 or tier 7 Italian cruiser. Second one was a tier 7 Japanese destroyer. Then Vanguard is a tier 8 British battleship, which isn't terrible. And then Okarov is a tier 8 Russian cruiser. From the Santa Big Gifts container, and the reason I'm going to mention this is these ships appeared to me as super containers, were Admiral Makarov, which we've just referred to as Makarov, and the infamous reason that everyone figured this out, California, and Orkan. Granted, Orkan on that one, I've heard is not bad, and I've played a couple games in it, and it's pretty good. Anyways, back to the spreadsheet in front of us, which is I've broken down by the item that you can get, not exact items, but just close enough. The amount that you get per container, of course, all the ships is going to be 1. You get a ship and a tier 10-point commander. The number of times I acquired it in my containers, and then I totaled that up. I opened exactly 500 containers. Of course, I did not buy 500 containers, so before y'all get upset that I spent that much, I didn't actually buy a lot of containers. There was a lot of gifts going around from my clan, so these aren't necessarily just me. Anyways, the number of times I acquired it, the total that I received of that category, the chance that I had to receive that item, the value of that item, if it's applicable. Of course, with certain ones they aren't. And then I did another one for possible ships in that area, so how many ships were they offering at that tier, and then the statistical chance that you should, when receiving a ship in one of these containers, have of getting one of these tiers. So let's start at the top. Coal, of course, and the megas, you get 12,500 coal. I got that 25 times for about 312,500 coal. The reason in my 400 containers video that I said I got 350,000 was because my clan has a bonus, and a lot of clans do, that gives you extra coal when you open a container with it. That gives you about a 5% chance to receive coal in a container, which for me that's about 1 in every 20 containers. So if you buy a set of 20, you should get 1. I believe that's 1 in 20, right? Am I being stupid? No, it's 1 in 20. 1 in 20 chance of getting coal. I didn't put a value for this because really I don't think you can put a value on coal, because I don't think they've actually directly sold it. So I guess the value is what you kind of attribute to it. But yeah. Doubloons, 2,000 doubloons per container. I got about 38 containers of doubloons. So that's 76,000 doubloons. So those went right back into, I believe that gives me 3 sets of containers right there. So just from opening containers, I got 60 more containers. So You got more of a chance to get 2,000 doubloons than you have the coal, with 7.6% chance for what I did. And this is with a sample size of 500 containers. Flags, they come in sets of 30. I got that about 150 times for 4,500 flags. 30% chance you're going to get flags. Almost a third of the time you're going to get flags. No value really associated with flags. These are, of course, the high tier flags, the rare flags. So, the value on that is what you think. They would help you grind ships. Sea Lord Mountbatten has a great video on that. You can get to tier 10, I think, in 21 games by using all of those flags. And premium time and camos. Anyways, continuing on. Premium time, on that same topic, 180 days drops in the mega containers. I opened 500 containers. I got that 4 times. That's 720 total days of premium time. That's a lot of premium time for Wargaming to just hand out. Granted, it's $54 value for that, and I had a 0.8% chance of getting it from my sample size. 0.8%. That's crazy. I didn't even get it 1% of the time. So, like, out of every 100 containers, I don't even get it 1 time. Almost. It's really close. If I would have got it 1 more time and something else 1 less time, it would have been 1%, and it would have been 1 out of every 100 containers dropped it. That's crazy. Rare camos, which only dropped 5. These are the 400% XP, the 200% XP with 777% free XP. Those camos, they drop in sets of 5. I got that 38 times for about 190 of those camos total. 7.6% of the time. The same as the doubloons. So you're going to get the rare camos almost as much as you're going to get doubloons. Once again, 500 container sample size. Standard camos come in sets of 25. I got that 150 times. 30% of the time for 3,750 of those camos, which I don't really need that many camos, but I have them. There was only 1 tier 4 ship offered, as I hear, and that I believe was the Imperial Nikolai, which I already had, so I didn't get that. But if you get a ship, you should statistically likely get it only 1% of the time. There's only a 1% chance of it dropping. That's taking the total number of ships. This is already on top of you have to roll a ship. And as you can see, the ship rolling percentages are very low, even on the megas, where they said they were higher. So if I were to do the same experiment with bigs, would they be lower than the other stuff that's coming up? It would be an interesting experiment, but I'm not going to put any more money into this. I already got what I wanted, and I'm not going to be able to pull any more ships because I actually literally got every single ship on the shortlist. So I did, as you can see, number of times acquired. There was 12 tier, I'm just going to go over this quick, 12 tier 9 ships. I had 3 of the ones that were on the list, so I got all the other 9. Yes, I did open some more containers after the other video where I just went over it, just because statistically likely I was going, and I literally only bought, so I would have had 480 after I did all this calculation. I bought 20 more containers and got the last few ships that I needed to complete the set. So I'll just point that out there, and that kind of gets into my point here later. But there was 12 ships possible. I got all 9 that I could possibly get. Same goes for the tier 5, tier 6, tier 7, and tier 8 ships. I got all the possible ships that I could attain. Sometimes actually more than once. That happened one time, and I kind of corrected it. So, anyways, the chance of us receiving when I got tier 9 ships, the chance was 2%, almost 2%. One more tier 9 ship would have made it exactly 2%. So you're more likely to get that than premium time, and that's a $77 value. And that would say why I got Azuma in one of my first 40 containers, because there was a small chance of getting it, not a high chance. The highest chance is actually our tier 8, technically, but I did not see that. I will go over that here shortly. 3.4% chance to receive a tier 5 ship. I got 17 of them. At tier 6, I got 20 of them, so the percentage goes up to 4. I got 19 ships at tier 7, which drops it down to 3.8. And at tier 8, I got 30 ships, which is 6% of the time. So, what you can kind of see here is if you open 100 containers, 6 of them should have tier 8 ships. 6. And you're talking $350 in containers. Right there. That's a lot of money. Granted, the value's there. I averaged the value of tier 8 ships to be about $45. That's just kind of a rough guess. I'm not going to say that's accurate at all. The only one that's accurate here is the tier 9 price, because all of those are consistent. They're $77.20 American. Going over to the chance of getting a ship at that tier, if you were to get a ship, like I said, it's 1% of the time basically for a tier 4 ship. Tier 9, it should be 11% of the time. Tier 5, 7, almost 18%. Almost 20% for tier 6. Tier 7, 20.5%. And almost 30% for tier 8. But a lot of players have noticed this one seems to drop more than any of the others. And actually, I'll go as far as to say these 3 drop at a higher rate than that actual, what should be the statistical probability of receiving that ship. These 3 drop at a higher rate. Granted, if you combine those percentages, they trump. Sorry to use that word, but they trump all of the other ones single-handedly. Like the 3 there double, if not almost triple, the tier 7. They make up almost the remainder. They double it basically. They make up the remainder of that, with tier 9 being an outlier, you know. But I got almost all of my tier 9s in the last 100 containers. So I gained most of these in my first 300 containers. And then it went to these, with the rare ships dropping at a lower rate. You know, their statistical probability of receiving the ship is off, which, you know, it's all about some semblance of luck. These are just chances. There is a chance that you receive a tier 9 ship on your first container. There is a chance. But there's also a chance that you don't receive it until your last container you open. That's how, you know, probabilities and statistics work. But the surprising number of people that have it dropping at the end, after you get everything else, so basically re-rolled and re-rolled and re-rolled, and then finally got the top tier ships, shows that there might be some bias behind even the shortlist that Wargaming has told us about, or actually came out and said, and confirmed now, you know, the shortlist. But almost as if the weight of tier 6, tier 5, and tier 7, I know I said it weird, but, you know, 5, 6, 7, those weights almost seem to be higher than the weights of 9 and 8. Even though, you know, statistically, 8 should be the most likely ship to appear. I could be wrong, but this is just the data I collected for you guys to gander at. This is the data I collected from my experience of opening, oops, sorry, I hit my mic, opening 500 containers. So, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. I'm interested in hearing any of your guys' feedback, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Shut up and sit down.